Hey guys, so I had three ideas for three different stories from three different genres in my head, not knowing which one to start with. And I was so sure I was going to start off with the greatest warlock that ever lived. But Madam Regina's son is just going to have to wait. I changed my mind, not because I think this will be a better story, but I wanted to slow down and take a different turn. I've been writing a lot about mystery, thriller, horror, and fantasy, and I wanted to go into another direction. I wrote the poem, literally read through the lines, and that's what gave me the inspiration to write this love story. So here it goes. These are the days, episode 12, Has Happened, part 2. So I thought the title for this episode was clever. Episode 10 was called What I Thought Would Never Happen because of Ryan opening up more to Chris, and this answering that basically with what has happened because what Chris finally spoke, the truth to Ryan. So this starts off exactly where the last episode left off at, which is when Ryan confessed his dark secret to Chris that his stepfather raped him. Now, before I explain any further, the reason why this wasn't mentioned in his nightmare is because this fear is his ultimate one, and he suppressed it for so long. Chris opening up and revealing his love to him back in the cabin has made him react like a light switch of emotions. It triggered him to want to maybe act out his emotions as well. But remember, because of the rape, there's still trauma inside. And him marrying Cindy was a shield from being vulnerable because even though he is in that loving family, he's not entirely open with her, only what he wants to show her. So, this scene opens up where Chris and Ryan are now standing under a tree, avoiding the rain showers. I didn't realize I even did this, but when Ryan left home all those years ago, it was raining and there was a storm, and so is it now. When telling Chris what he's never been able to tell anyone, Chris is a counselor here and back at home for the center and the shelter of LGBTQ. So he usually knows how to handle situations like this. He's talked to dozens of teenagers, runaway teenagers, but when it's someone close and that you love, you forget because all you want to do is love and protect that person. Now that Ryan has said this, Chris is processing and everything is starting to make sense. Why, when someone would even try to touch him, he would hesitate, and why he wanted to avoid getting to this point back at the cabin, or why it was so stressful to be vulnerable with showing any kind of emotion with others. Chris always saw this. However, when it came to him, he really did do his best, which made Chris wonder, was this the obstacle standing in the way of them being together? He only spoke of girls back in the day, with Dave, Brad, and Chad. They showed pictures of their girlfriends and even brought them to the camp. Ryan only spoke of them. Cindy, his wife, is the only one, and now Chris feels so selfish to even think about this. After all, those years holding his dark secret, and now he's confided in his best friend to show the truth and to know it. Chris asks him if this was going on when he started camp, and he told him way before that. Then Ryan went into more detail in his words. Since my dad died, my mom would be at work, occupying her time. But then she met Harry and became so happy. Obviously, it didn't happen that quickly, but in her mind, she finally found love again. So, he stayed at home while she was at work, running an errand, or to friends. I'd stay home, and when he would get drunk and horny, he would use anything as an excuse to use my body. Either I was being a bad boy, I got a bad grade, I didn't do my chores, I was being a spoiled brat because I didn't get a toy, or I was being too loud. I would try to run, but he would always find me. And when I started to refuse, he'd get angry and lock me in the closet. And when mom came home, he painted a whole different picture. Chris asked him, why didn't you tell her? He said he tried to countless times, but that she was so taken by his charm. Chris had his own demons, but all this time he didn't know that so did Ryan, and it was harder for him because he's been avoiding them. Chris's parents disowned them. It was horrible. Still, he's been able to acknowledge the reality of it. Ryan is still running away with his demons, trying to avoid them. Ryan then tells Chris about the year he didn't come back to Everwood. It was because his stepfather was planning to throw him out of the house, and that's when he took it on himself to leave on his own will, leaving the letter to his mother in the room and building a grudge between mother and son. Chris asks Ryan if he's talked to his therapist about this. He says little by little, which isn't a lie because he's opened up about the abuse, but it's just hard. This right here, him opening up to Chris, is a gigantic breakthrough. Making a lightning bolt hit the branch on the tree was important in the story. So as the branch fell, Chris pulled Ryan out of the way, basically saving his life. This is the moment when they kiss, which was actually initiated by Ryan. His trauma from the past is fighting the feelings from the present. After the intense kiss, Chris feels bad for taking advantage of his vulnerability, while Ryan gets up, getting his clothes, wondering why he kissed him. He's doing the avoidance game again. Chris says, "I'm sorry, maybe you need time," and that's when he says, "I don't ever want to see you again." Stay tuned for the next episode.